Elon Musk, one of the most influential figures of our time, was refused service at a cafe in Bayview City because of a hat. The next day, he returned, and what he did left everyone speechless. This single act would expose hidden prejudices and redefine the true meaning of progress. What happened next wasn't just surprising, it was revolutionary. His unexpected response would unveil hypocrisy, challenge deep-seated prejudices, and redefine progress in the most unpredictable way. The Vanguard Roast, a beacon of cutting-edge technology and bold social ideals, stood tall among Bayview City's towering skyscrapers. But on this seemingly ordinary day, a single decision shattered its harmony, sparking a chain of events that would force Silicon Valley, and the world, to confront its own contradictions. Before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Now, let's get started. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the quiet hum of laptops as customers enjoyed their afternoon routines. At the counter, Elon Musk stood calmly, wearing his signature black t-shirt, jeans, and a red MAGA hat, its bold logo catching the light. Maya, the barista, glanced up and froze. Her brow furrowed, and hesitation flickered across her face. "I'm sorry, sir," she said firmly, her voice louder than necessary. "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone." The atmosphere shifted as heads turned toward the counter. A few customers exchanged glances, while others quietly pulled out their phones to record. Elon, undeterred, tilted his head slightly and asked, "I don't understand. What about my hat is the issue?" His tone wasn't confrontational. It was curious, almost clinical. But Maya remained resolute. "It's causing discomfort for others," she replied curtly. The room seemed to hold its breath as Elon's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the growing tension around him. The tension was palpable. Customers whispered, phones recorded, and the cafe's welcoming atmosphere evaporated. Maya stood firm, her arms crossed defensively. Before Elon could respond, a door swung open, and Rachel Carter, the cafe's manager, appeared. Her polished demeanor masked the unease she felt as she surveyed the scene. "What's going on here?" Rachel asked, her voice calm but authoritative. Maya gestured toward Elon. "He's wearing that hat," she said hesitantly. "It's making people uncomfortable." Rachel's eyes flickered to Elon's MAGA hat. For a moment, she hesitated. Then, with a carefully measured tone, she addressed him. "Sir, we strive to maintain a safe and inclusive environment for our customers. If you remove the hat, we'd be happy to serve you." Elon studied Rachel intently, his expression unreadable. He looked around the cafe, taking in the "Everyone Welcome" sign on the wall and the curious gazes of the customers. A faint smile played on his lips. "Understood," he said simply. With a polite nod, he turned and walked out, leaving an unsettling silence in his wake. As the door closed behind Elon Musk, the room remained eerily quiet. Customers exchanged uneasy glances, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. A retired professor, seated in the corner with his laptop, shook his head in disapproval, quietly packed his belongings, and left. Nearby, a group of young tech workers from a nearby startup whispered among themselves, their voices filled with a mix of skepticism and indignation. "Isn't this place supposed to be about inclusion?" one of them muttered, casting a glance at the "Everyone Welcome" sign on the wall. Rachel stood near the counter, arms crossed, her polished composure giving way to a flicker of doubt. Was this decision truly in line with the cafe's values? She had built the Vanguard Roast to be a hub for innovation and understanding, but this incident felt like a contradiction of everything the cafe stood for. In the break room, Maya sat down, her hands trembling slightly. "Was I wrong?" she wondered aloud, staring at her reflection in the stainless steel coffee pot. Outside the cafe, Elon walked away calmly, the faint smile still lingering on his face, leaving behind an atmosphere charged with tension and reflection. Elon Musk woke before dawn, his mind restless with thoughts of innovation and the challenges that lay ahead. The vision of a sustainable Mars colony had consumed his dreams the night before, questions of logistics, energy, and survival swirling in his head. Instead of diving into his usual barrage of emails, he decided to step away from technology for the morning. Leaving his phone behind, Elon set out on foot to explore Bayview City. The cool morning air carried the faint scent of the ocean, and the city's contrasts unfolded before him. Homeless individuals huddled under blankets in shadowy doorways, mere steps away from gleaming towers housing billion-dollar tech firms. A street artist worked on a vibrant mural just across from a robotic delivery unit rolling down the sidewalk. Elon paused at the sight. These juxtapositions were striking, the convergence of wealth and poverty, tradition and technology. A question emerged in his mind: could innovation truly bridge these divides, or was it merely widening them? This thought lingered as he continued his walk, eventually arriving at the Vanguard Roast, where he sought inspiration and perhaps answers. Elon Musk's morning walk wasn't random, it was deliberate. As someone driven by a mission to align technology with sustainability, he had developed a habit of immersing himself in real-world environments to better understand societal dynamics. That day, the Vanguard Roast was his chosen destination. Weeks earlier, Elon had come across a feature about the cafe in a sustainability report. Praised for its AI-powered coffee machines that minimized waste, solar energy systems powering its operations, and a blockchain supply chain ensuring ethical sourcing, the cafe represented everything Elon valued: innovation rooted in responsibility. It had become a model for other small businesses striving to combine profit with purpose. Stepping inside the cafe, Elon was drawn to its bold declarations of progress. Posters promoting inclusivity adorned the walls, while certifications of sustainability were proudly displayed near the counter. The contrast between their ideals and the societal disparities he had just witnessed on his walk struck a chord. Could this space really live up to its promise of inclusion, or was it simply another facade? For Elon, this wasn't just about coffee, it was about witnessing progress in practice. As Elon stood at the counter, he couldn't help but take in the details around him. The "Everyone Welcome" sign hung prominently on the wall, radiating an inclusive message. Nearby, framed certificates celebrated the cafe's sustainability achievements, and digital screens displayed data on energy savings from their solar panels. Everything about the Vanguard Roast screamed progress. Yet, in that moment, the stark irony was unavoidable. A cafe that prided itself on innovation and inclusivity was turning him away, not for who he was, but for what they assumed his hat represented. Elon's thoughts flashed back to times when people had dismissed his visions of electric cars and reusable rockets as impractical or naive. The same pattern was repeating, not with technology this time, but with societal ideals. Progress, he realized, was more than technology or slogans. It was about actions, even when they challenged comfort zones. With that thought, Elon turned and left, his smile faint but resolute. The cafe had just provided him with something invaluable, a challenge worth solving. As Elon walked away from the Vanguard Roast, his thoughts crystallized into a plan. The rejection he had experienced wasn't a moment of anger or embarrassment, it was an opportunity. Progress, he realized, wasn't about perfection, it was about transformation, even in the face of discomfort. Later that day, as he sat in a meeting with his Tesla executive team, Elon sketched a rough idea on a notepad. It wasn't a new product or technology, but a vision, a way to turn the cafe's principles into tangible change. What if we could help them live up to their ideals? He mused aloud, his voice calm but determined. His team listened intently as he outlined a plan to implement Tesla's cutting-edge sustainable energy systems at the cafe. "We're not here to punish," he explained. "We're here to demonstrate what progress can truly look like." For Elon, this wasn't just about innovation. It was about setting an example that would challenge assumptions and inspire action. The next morning, the serenity of the Vanguard Roast shattered as a convoy of Tesla vehicles arrived, turning the quiet street into the center of attention. Shiny Model S sedans and imposing Cybertrucks parked neatly, their sleek designs contrasting with the unassuming cafe. A small crowd gathered almost instantly, murmurs spreading like wildfire as phones lit up to capture the scene. From the lead Cybertruck, Elon Musk stepped out, wearing the same attire as the day before, his black t-shirt, jeans, and the infamous MAGA hat. His calm demeanor carried a quiet confidence, but this time, he wasn't alone. A team of Tesla engineers filed up behind him, carrying equipment and speaking in hushed tones. Inside, Maya midshift froze at the sight. Her heart raced as she whispered to a coworker, "Is that really?" The cup in her hand trembled. Rachel, arriving just minutes before, caught the commotion and quickly moved to the door, her thoughts a jumble of confusion and concern. Elon entered, his footsteps measured but commanding. The room, bustling moments earlier, fell into complete silence. Customers turned in their seats, their eyes glued to the man they had unwittingly ignored the day before. Rachel approached hesitantly, trying to piece together what to say. "Mr. Musk, I didn't realize," she stammered. Elon held up his hand, a gesture of quiet reassurance. "No need to explain," he said. "I'm not here to talk about yesterday. I'm here to talk about what we can do today." He gestured toward his team, who began setting up scanning devices and discussing measurements near the cafe's walls. "Your cafe has the potential to be a model for sustainability. Let us show you how." Outside, the crowd swelled as Tesla engineers laid out the details of the project. They explained how Tesla's advanced solar panels and battery storage solutions would eliminate the cafe's carbon footprint entirely. From energy optimization to waste reduction, the overhaul would make the Vanguard roast a beacon for eco-friendly business practices. Rachel's initial shock gave way to awe as Elon spoke to her directly. "Progress isn't about being perfect," he said, his tone firm but encouraging. "It's about recognizing where we fall short and finding the courage to make it right. Let's work together to turn this into an example for others to follow." The room remained still for a moment, then erupted in applause. Customers who had witnessed the events of the previous day now smiled, their skepticism replaced by admiration. Outside, the engineers continued their work, while Elon stepped aside to speak briefly with a curious passerby. For Rachel, it was more than a second chance. It was the beginning of something transformative. With the crowd now spilling onto the sidewalk, Elon Musk stepped forward, commanding the room without raising his voice. The faint hum of the Tesla engineer's equipment created a backdrop as he began to speak. "Yesterday," Elon started, glancing briefly at the "Everyone Welcome" sign on the wall. "This cafe reminded me of something important. Progress isn't always easy. Sometimes it challenges what we're comfortable with. And that's a good thing." The room was silent, each word landing heavily. Rachel listened intently, her earlier nervousness replaced by a growing curiosity. Elon continued, his tone calm yet firm. "This space," he said, gesturing around the cafe, "represents so much of what the future should be: innovative, sustainable, inclusive. But real progress isn't just about the values we advertise. It's about the actions we take when things get uncomfortable." Turning to Rachel, Elon's voice softened. "I'm not here to criticize. I'm here to help. Together, we can make this cafe a living example of those values." He outlined his vision. Tesla's solar technology would power the cafe entirely, paired with advanced energy storage systems to ensure uninterrupted operations. A custom AI-driven energy management platform would optimize usage, reducing waste and costs. As Elon spoke, the energy in the room shifted. Skepticism gave way to interest, then inspiration. Customers leaned in, captivated not just by his words but by the possibilities he described. Outside, passers-by stopped to listen, their expressions a mix of awe and anticipation. "And this isn't just about technology," Elon concluded. "It's about showing what's possible when we lead with courage and collaboration. Mistakes don't define us, our choices afterward do." Rachel stood at the center of the room, her emotions a mix of humility and awe. Elon's words hung in the air, resonating deeply not only with her but with every customer in the cafe. She stepped forward, her voice soft yet steady. "I'll admit, we've made mistakes. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that growth starts when we face those mistakes head-on. Let's do this." Elon extended his hand, a simple yet powerful gesture. Rachel shook it, sealing a partnership that promised to transform not just the Vanguard roast, but its impact on the community. A round of applause erupted from the crowd, filled with energy and renewed belief. The Tesla engineers wasted no time. They explained the timeline for implementing the solar panels and energy systems, detailing how the cafe would serve as a real-world model for other small businesses. More importantly, Elon announced a collaboration with local schools to create internships where students could learn about sustainable technology firsthand. Maya, who had silently watched from behind the counter, finally found the courage to step forward. I'm sorry for how I acted, she said, her voice trembling. Elon met her gaze, his expression kind. We all learn, he said simply. And the best lessons come when we're willing to change. Outside, the morning sun shone brighter, reflecting off the Tesla vehicles parked along the street. Inside, the cafe buzzed with a new energy, not just from the promise of technological transformation, but from the collective sense that progress was within reach. The world had watched the Vanguard roast stumble, but now, it was poised to become a beacon of what true progress could look like. Weeks later, the Vanguard roast had become a site of transformation that exceeded even Elon Musk's expectations. On the roof, Tesla's advanced solar panels gleamed under the Bayview city sun, converting energy with unparalleled efficiency. Inside, a state-of-the-art battery storage system quietly ensured the cafe ran seamlessly, day and night, without relying on the traditional grid. Rachel marveled at the changes. Operating costs had dropped by 70%, thanks to the energy-efficient systems. Beyond the financial savings, the cafe's carbon footprint had been eliminated entirely, drawing attention from sustainability experts across the region. Journalists flocked to document the transformation, and the cafe was quickly becoming a hub for discussions about green technology and responsible business practices. But the real change lay in the community. A collaboration with local schools had brought groups of high school students to the cafe for hands-on learning experiences. They worked alongside Tesla engineers, understanding how the technology functioned and applying their newfound knowledge to their own projects. Maya, now a vocal advocate for the cafe's mission, led tours for curious customers. We're not just serving coffee anymore, she told a group of visitors. We're serving ideas, innovation, and a glimpse of what's possible. The cafe had evolved from a symbol of contradiction to one of genuine progress, its success inspiring other small businesses to explore similar transformations. For the first time, Rachel felt that the Vanguard roast was living up to its name, proving that progress wasn't just a word, it was an action. Inside the Vanguard roast, the transformation wasn't just technological, it was cultural. The walls, once decorated with generic posters about progress, now featured interactive displays explaining the cafe's sustainable energy systems. Customers could learn about the impact of solar power and ethical sourcing as they waited for their orders. Rachel had embraced this shift wholeheartedly. She introduced monthly community forums where local entrepreneurs, environmentalists, and students could exchange ideas about sustainability and social innovation. For Rachel, these events were more than gatherings. They were proof that her cafe had become a genuine hub for progress. One evening, after a particularly engaging forum, Rachel reflected on how far the cafe had come. We used to think progress was about appearances, she said to Maya, who nodded in agreement. But now I see, it's about action, about the courage to admit when we're wrong and to do better. Maya, who had once hesitated at the counter, now carried herself with newfound confidence. She often spoke to customers about her own growth. This place taught me something important, she told the group one afternoon. Mistakes don't define us, it's what we learn from them that matters. The cafe had shifted its identity, becoming a living example of its values. Customers left not just with coffee, but with ideas and inspiration. And as more small businesses followed suit, the Vanguard roast proved that true progress wasn't just about technology. It was about people, their choices, and the change they could inspire. The Vanguard roast stood as a testament to how a single moment of misjudgment could spark a movement of transformation. The cafe, once a symbol of contradiction, had grown into a living example of what progress truly meant, admitting flaws, embracing change, and turning challenges into opportunities. Rachel often reflected on the journey. We thought we were already progressive, she once said during a forum. But real progress came when we learned to listen, to act, and to grow together. Her words resonated with the diverse audience gathered, many of whom had been inspired to reevaluate their own practices. And what of Elon Musk? He never sought the spotlight for his role in the cafe's transformation. His quiet leadership had already inspired change far beyond the walls of the Vanguard roast. Whether or not he would ever return remained uncertain, but his impact was undeniable. As the story of the Vanguard roast spread, it became a beacon for others. It challenged businesses, communities, and individuals to look inward and ask, are we truly living the values we claim to uphold? What about you? Have you ever faced a moment where your beliefs or actions were challenged? How did you respond? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you found this story inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tales of transformation, progress, and the power of change. Together, let's keep the conversation alive.